So all people that ever lived and will ever live. So it's very crazy. So get back to less crazy things, I hope. No, it's Harry. About Harry Percival with Baroque, the decorator. Just 2 times? Good. Give him a big hand.
Okay, hello, my name is Harry. This talk is about decorators. Decorators, don't you love them? I'm going to use some examples from Django, but you can imagine them for anything else. So, you know, in Django, you might use a decorator to apply some common logic to a bunch of different view functions. And here, for example, I'm going to make a decorator saying owner or admin. So like a particular view is going to allow people in who are the owners of a particular type of data, and it's going to also allow administrators. You can see the code there. Oh, I'm going to check whether username is the right username for the view, and or maybe the user is allowed to be staff. Okay, hooray! And then I can apply that decorator to my views, like my private stuff view. And I can, you know, use that decorator as a nice way of saying, all right, all these views decorated like this are going to be restricted to owner or admin. Nice. So far so good, right? We like decorators. They're a nice way of reusing code. But how about when you come to test them? Because, of course, you're testing absolutely everything, aren't you? So, you're going to write some tests like this. Fine, I'm going to do a login. I'm going to say that this user who's not the right user gets a 403. And I'm going to write another test where I log in was the correct user. And I'm going to say they get a 200. And I'm going to write this test. And wait a minute, I'm going to have to write all of these identical tests for every single one of my views. It's pretty annoying. That's a pretty tedious duplication of code. So what about if I did something like this? Inside my little owner or admin decorator, I could actually add a little line of code over here like this, right? And when I say I take in my wrapped view, I'm going to add an attribute to a view, because a view is just a function which is just an object in Python. So I can add arbitrary attributes to any sort of objects, including functions. And then my test becomes much simpler. I can just import my view. I can assert that it has that dot decorated with owner or admin, right? Attribute. Fine, so far so good. But the tedious thing about that, right, is do I have to do this for every single one of my decorators, like my @authorized_user decorator, my create new profile if necessary, my definitely not send all info to NSA decorator? I don't want to have to do that inside every single one of my decorators. I don't want custom decorator code inside each one of my decorators. I don't need that code that decorates the decorated view with a little decorated bit. And I don't want to have to add that decoration code inside every single one of my decorators, do I? So I wonder if you can see where this is going. It'd be quite nice to be able to have this logic that every single decorator is going to decorate the functions that it decorates. And the way that you might implement that is using a decorator. And so let me present the decorator, which I'm going to call @Baroque. Baroque because Baroque architecture is decorations on top of decorations on top of decorations, isn't it? Adjust monocle. So I'm going to present the Baroque decorator purely through its tests. If I apply Baroque to a decorator and I use that decorator on a function, I want to set that my function has an attribute called decorated by, which is a set, and that set includes the name of the decorator. So far, so good. Second test, we want to be able to have @Baroque applied to multiple decorators, and we apply multiple decorators to a function, and we say that function then has multiple items in the set, which is the names of both decorators, right? And then you're going to have to say that class-based decorators, which are a different way of writing decorators, need to work, and then you have to take decorators that take arguments. Now, this is hard because they're not actually decorators, they're things that return decorators that can be then applied to decorating a function. And then, so you write all those tests, and then there's one very important test, which you absolutely must write if you want to get this correct, and that's this one. And I'm just going to let you read this test slowly and see what it's doing there is that we're going to check that after we've applied our Baroque decorator to our decorator, the decorator actually still works. This is an important test that you must add. We forgot to the first time round. Make sure that your decorator doesn't break the decorator that it's decorating, because otherwise the functions that have been decorated will no longer have the decorator applied, even though they might have the decoration from the decorating decorator. Okay, any questions?
Thank you so much, Harry.